The jungle was quiet, too quiet. Thick green leaves covered the sky, and heavy mist moved like ghosts between the trees. Somewhere deep in this alien world, a human named Ray was lost. Ray's ship had crashed 2 days ago. His radio didn't work. His team was gone. Now all he had was his pulse gun, a torn backpack, and his own heartbeat echoing in his ears. Ray wiped sweat from his forehead. The air was hot and sticky. Even though he was a soldier trained for survival, this place was making him nervous. It wasn't just the silence. It wasn't just the unknown plants and strange glowing insects. It was the feeling. The feeling that someone, or something, was watching him. Ray stepped carefully, boots sinking slightly into soft mud. He pushed aside a thick vine and froze. A footprint, not human, too big, too deep, and shaped like something with claws. Ray's grip tightened around his gun. He crouched low, moving as quietly as possible. Every sound felt louder now. The rustling of leaves, the drip of water. Then, thud, a heavy footstep. Thud, thud. Something was getting closer. Slow, sure steps. Ray hid behind a wide tree, pressing, his back against the rough bark. His breath caught in his throat, and then he saw her. 8 feet tall. Blue skin, glowing golden eyes. Long silver white hair tied in a high knot behind her head. She wasn't wearing armor, just simple dark clothes that left her arms bare. Sharp black claws on her fingers. She walked with her chin up, shoulders straight, like she owned the whole jungle. Ray had heard stories about aliens from this planet. Arrogant, dangerous. They didn't respect humans. Now one of them was here. Right in front of him. The alien female paused, looking around slowly. Her golden eyes scanned the trees. Her nostrils flared, as if she could smell him. Ray stayed frozen. His heart hammered in his chest. Snap, a twig under his boot. Just a tiny sound, but loud enough. The alien's head turned sharply. Her eyes locked onto his hiding spot. For a long moment, she just stared. Her expression didn't change, calm but curious. Then she started walking towards him. Ray raised his pulse gun. Hands steady. Stop right there, he shouted. The alien didn't listen. She kept coming closer. Her long legs moved gracefully. Her golden eyes didn't blink. I said stop. Ray's voice shook now. Still, she walked until she was just a few feet away. The mist curled around both of them, and then she poked him. Her claw-tipped finger touched his arm lightly, almost like testing. Her face showed no fear, only interest. Ray didn't know what to do. He had expected a fight or an attack. But this, the alien poked his shoulder again, harder this time. Then his chest. Ray stepped back, confused and angry. What is your problem? He snapped, but she just tilted her head slightly, like a cat playing with a mouse. Her lips curved in a small, arrogant smirk. Ray noticed the small gold ring on her left ear. It shined even in the low jungle light. She poked his face now, touching his chin. Enough, Ray growled. The alien's eyes flashed with amusement. She said something in her language, sharp, musical words Ray didn't understand. But the tone was clear, mocking, like she was laughing at him. Ray's grip tightened on his gun. He didn't want to shoot her, but he wouldn't let her push him around either. Suddenly, she reached for his backpack, pulling at the strap. Her strength was unbelievable. Ray stumbled forward as she inspected the bag like a curious child. That was it. His patience snapped. He shoved her hand away hard. I said enough. For a moment, everything froze. Her golden eyes narrowed slightly. Her lips pressed into a thin line. But instead of getting angry, she just leaned in closer. Her face only inches from his. Ray felt heat rise in his neck. This wasn't just some wild alien. This was something else. Something dangerous. And she wasn't scared of him at all. She whispered one word in perfect, low English. Human. Ray swallowed hard. The mist felt colder now. What did she want? Why was she here, and why? Why did it feel like this was just the beginning? Asterisk, the jungle rain had slowed down, but the tension between Ray and the alien woman only grew. She stood in front of him, tall, proud, eyes glowing gold like fire. Even though Ray had pushed her hand away, she didn't step back. Instead, she just kept looking at him, calm, arrogant. Ray's fingers stayed tight on his pulse gun. One mistake, and he would pull the trigger. But the alien? She didn't seem scared of his weapon. Then, without warning, she poked him again. Her sharp finger pressed against his chest. Ray blinked in shock. Was this some kind of alien game? "Stop doing that," Ray said, voice firm. But she ignored him. Another poke. This time on his shoulder. Another poke. His helmet. Ray stepped back again, but she followed. Like a cat stalking a mouse. Her smirk widened slightly, as if she was enjoying this. Ray couldn't believe it. He was a trained soldier, lost in an alien jungle, outnumbered, out of contact. And this alien, this tall, arrogant alien, was poking him like he was some kind of toy. "Why are you doing this?" Ray asked. His voice was calm, but inside, he was boiling with frustration. The alien spoke again in her language. Smooth, musical words that sounded almost like teasing. Ray didn't understand her words, but he understood her body language. She was testing him, seeing how far she could push before he broke. Another poke. This time, her claw tapped against the metal of his gun. Ray grabbed her wrist fast. His hand wrapped around her blue-skinned arm, holding it tight. For a moment, both of them just stared at each other. Her golden eyes met his. Ray felt the heat in the air between them. "Don't," Ray said in a low voice, but instead of pulling back, the alien leaned closer. Ray smelled something like sweet smoke and flowers. Strange, but not unpleasant. She spoke again, this time in broken English. "You small human." Small, Ray's jaw clenched. So that was it. She thought he was weak just because she was taller, stronger, from some powerful alien. Ray wasn't having it. Size doesn't mean everything. Ray growled, but she just tilted her head and gave him a slow, deliberate smile. Then, to his complete shock, she poked him in the forehead, hard enough to make his head tilt back slightly. That was it. Ray let go of her wrist and took a step back. His mind was racing. This wasn't about size or power anymore. This was about respect, and clearly, she didn't respect him. Ray had been patient. He had stayed calm. But even soldiers had limits. The alien folded her arms now, standing tall, chin lifted like some jungle queen. Ray knew what he had to do. Something bold. Something that would make her take him seriously. His pulse gun? No, too easy. A punch? Maybe. But it felt wrong. And then he remembered a survival tip from basic training. Some alien species didn't understand human signs of strength. But animals understood primal actions. And sometimes, the only way to show dominance was in the oldest way possible. Ray stepped forward again, fast this time. Before she could react, he grabbed her arm. And bit her. Hard. His teeth sank into her smooth blue skin. Not enough to break it, but hard enough to make her feel it. The alien gasped. Her body tensed in shock. Ray stepped back immediately, heart pounding. The jungle went silent. Even the mist seemed to freeze in place. The alien touched her bitten hand slowly. Her golden eyes were wide now, no smirk, no arrogance. Ray wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, staring at her. "Now do you understand?" he said quietly. For a long, heavy moment, she didn't move, didn't speak. Then, something changed in her eyes. A flicker of respect. Of something deeper. Without a word, she lowered her head slightly. A small, slow nod. Ray exhaled. Maybe now, things would be different between them. But in the distance, the sky rumbled with thunder. The air smelled of rain and danger. And Ray knew. This strange encounter was only the beginning. Asterisk. The jungle sky had turned dark purple. Storm clouds gathered above the trees, thick and heavy like smoke. But neither Ray nor the alien woman moved. They just stood there, staring at each other. Ray had bitten her. And somehow, that bite changed the entire air on them. The tall blue-skinned alien, with her golden eyes and silver-white hair, was no longer poking him. No more smirks. No more arrogance. Instead, she stood quietly, looking at her bitten hand. Her clawed fingers brushed against the spot like she was studying it. Ray wasn't sure if she would attack now. Maybe biting her had been a bad idea. His heart pounded as he kept his pulse gun ready. But inside, a strange calm was also growing. The alien slowly raised her head. Her golden eyes were not angry, not scared. Instead, she looked thoughtful. Ray spoke first. "You get it now?" His voice was low. "I'm not some toy. I'm not weak." The alien said nothing for a long time. The wind moved her white hair across her face. Finally, she stepped closer again. Ray tensed, ready for anything, but she only extended her bitten hand toward him. Slowly. Ray didn't understand at first. Was it a peace sign? A challenge? Then he realized she was showing him the mark. Strong. She whispered in broken English. "Human. Strong." Ray let out a slow breath. That was the first real word she had spoken that wasn't teasing him. "Yeah," Ray said. Strong. Suddenly, lightning flashed through the sky. A loud crack shook the jungle. And then the rain came hard and fast. Heavy drops poured down like bullets. It wasn't normal rain. It sizzled when it hit the ground, burning small leaves. "Acid rain! Shelter!" Ray shouted. He grabbed his backpack and pointed toward the east where he had seen ruins earlier. The alien didn't argue this time. She followed him. Both of them ran through the jungle, dodging trees and branches. Steam rose from the ground wherever the rain hit. Ray's legs burned with effort, but he didn't stop. His human skin wouldn't last long under acid rain. The alien seemed stronger. Her skin steamed, but she didn't cry out. Still, even she wasn't safe out here for long. Finally, they found it a broken alien structure, half covered in vines and moss. Ray and the alien dove inside, just as the rain became even heavier outside. Inside, it was dark and quiet except for the sound of water dripping. Ray leaned against a wall, catching his breath. The alien stood across from him, her chest rising and falling slowly. Her hair was wet now, stuck to her face, making her look even more wild and dangerous. But her eyes, those glowing golden eyes, kept watching Ray. The silence felt strange now, like both of them were waiting for the next move. Ray finally broke it. "So, what's your name?" The alien tilted her head slightly. "Name?" she repeated. Her accent was sharp but soft. "Yeah," Ray said, tapping his chest. "I'm Ray." She watched him for a moment, as if thinking deeply. Then she touched her own chest lightly with her clawed hand. "Zara," she said. Ray nodded slowly. Zara. Their names hung in the air like a quiet deal. Human, alien, Ray, Zara. Outside, the acid rain kept falling, but in here, it was almost peaceful. Ray pulled off his backpack and checked his supplies. Only 2 water packs left, 1 ration bar, a low battery on his pulse gun. Not great. When he looked up, he found Zara standing much closer now. Ray's hand moved toward his weapon out of instinct, but she wasn't attacking. Instead, Zara crouched down in front of him, resting on one knee. Her golden eyes searched his face carefully, as if trying to understand him better. Then, without warning again, she reached out. But this time she didn't poke him. Her hand brushed lightly against Ray's cheek. Slow, careful. Ray froze. The touch wasn't playful anymore. It wasn't mocking. It was something else. Respect, maybe trust, maybe more. He didn't pull back this time, for a long moment. They just sat like that, human and alien, both trapped together in the storm, but no longer enemies. The bite had changed everything. Now they weren't strangers anymore. Now they were something closer. Outside, thunder roared again. But inside, Ray felt strangely calm. The acid rain didn't stop. It poured like burning liquid fire from the sky, making the jungle hiss and steam. Outside the ruined structure, leaves melted, and rocks cracked under the heat. But inside, it was quiet. Ray sat against the wall, holding his pulse gun loosely now. Across from him, Zara, the tall alien woman, watched the rain through a broken part of the roof. Her silver hair glowed faintly in the low light. Water drops slid down her blue skin, but she didn't seem cold. She didn't shiver like a human would. Ray studied her from the corner of his eye. He still couldn't believe the last few hours. First she kept poking him like he was some kind of toy. Then he bit her to make her stop, and instead of fighting, she accepted it. Now here they were, trapped together in a storm, but not fighting, not exactly friends, but not enemies either. Ray cleared his throat quietly. "You okay?" Zara turned her golden eyes toward him. She didn't answer at first. Then she tilted her head, thinking. "Okay," she repeated softly. Ray gave a small smile. "Progress." He looked at his arm. There was a small burn from when the rain first touched him earlier. He rubbed it gently. Zara noticed. Without warning, she got up and walked closer. Her long legs moved like a panther, silent, graceful. Ray tensed slightly. Even now, he didn't fully trust her. But he didn't reach for his weapon. Zara knelt beside him. Her sharp claws gently touched his arm where the burn was. Ray's breath caught. Her skin felt cooler than his. Her touch was careful, slow. Then she pulled out a small vial from a pouch on her belt. It was filled with dark purple liquid. "What's that?" Ray asked. Zara uncorked it and poured a drop onto his burn. It hissed slightly, but then the pain faded. Ray blinked in surprise. The burn mark disappeared like magic. "Medicine?" he guessed. Zara nodded once. "For burn," she said in broken English. Ray gave a low whistle. "Guess I owe you now." Zara only gave him that same small knowing smirk again. But this time, it wasn't arrogant. It felt softer. The rain outside roared even louder, but neither of them moved away from each other now. For a long while, there was only silence. Ray broke it first. "Why were you poking me?" he asked finally, voice curious now instead of angry. Zara's eyes narrowed slightly in thought. Then she pointed at herself. "Zara, warrior," she said. "Test strength." Ray raised an eyebrow. "You poke strangers to test them?" She gave a small nod. "Human, small, weak?" She paused, searching for the word. Then she tapped her bitten hand. "But strong." Ray couldn't help but laugh once. "Yeah, well, don't judge a human too fast." Zara didn't laugh, but her smirk widened a little. Another silence settled between them. But this time, it wasn't heavy. It was almost peaceful. Ray leaned his head back against the wall and closed his eyes for a moment. His body was tired. His muscles ached. Then he heard a soft noise. Zara humming. He opened his eyes and saw her tracing patterns on the dusty floor with her claw. Strange symbols, curved lines, circles. "What's that?" Ray asked. Zara looked up, then pointed at the symbols. "Home," she said simply. "My world." Ray leaned forward, looking closer. "That your planet?" Zara nodded. "Far." Ray thought for a moment. Then he picked up a small stick and drew his own symbol, a simple earth, with a moon next to it. "Earth," he said. Zara studied it for a long moment. Then she tapped it lightly with one claw. "Small," she said. "But strong." Ray gave a small grin. "You keep saying that." Zara shrugged one shoulder slowly. Suddenly, a loud crack outside made both of them jump slightly. A tree had fallen under the acid rain. It crashed near the shelter, shaking the ground. Ray stood up quickly, checking the entrance. But everything was still safe. Zara stood beside him now, close, their shoulders almost touched. For a moment, Ray thought about something strange. If someone had told him days ago that he'd be standing in an alien jungle, trapped in a storm, next to an alien woman who just tried to poke him to death, he wouldn't have believed it. But here he was, and somehow, it didn't feel so strange anymore. Zara looked at him sideways. Storm. Long, she said. Ray nodded slowly. Guess. We're stuck together for now. She gave a quiet hum in agreement, and as lightning lit up the sky again, Ray wondered if this strange bond between human and alien wasn't just about survival anymore. Maybe, just maybe, it was something more. Asterisk. Hours passed. The acid rain finally slowed. Inside the old alien shelter, Ray sat near the entrance, pulse gun resting on his knee. His eyes stayed sharp, even though his body felt tired. Across from him, Zara sat quietly, golden eyes half closed. As if resting, Ray had almost gotten used to her silent company now. The poking, the bite, it felt like another life. But peace in the jungle never lasted long. Suddenly, thump. A heavy sound echoed from outside. Ray's eyes snapped open. He held up his hand, signaling Zara without words. Quiet. Zara's eyes opened at once. Her body tensed like a hunting cat. She sniffed the air, her sharp alien senses already picking up danger. Another sound. Thump. Thump. Footsteps. But not hers. Not Ray's. Someone else. Ray slid toward the wall, peeking through a crack in the broken stone. His pulse gun was ready, finger on the trigger, and then he saw them. 3 figures moving through the steaming jungle. Armored, tall, but not like Zara. Their skin was darker green, faces hidden behind metal masks. Their weapons glowed faint blue. Zara whispered in her language, low and serious. Ray didn't need a translator. These were enemies, not friends. Who are they? Ray whispered. Zara's face was grim now. Hunters, she said quietly. Enemy tribe. Ray's jaw clenched. Hunters. That meant trouble. The 3 enemy aliens spread out, scanning the area. One of them pointed toward the shelter. They were coming closer. Ray looked at Zara. Her face was calm but focused. No fear. Ray spoke fast and quiet. We stay hidden? Zara shook her head. No hide, she said. Fight. Ray stared at her for a second. Then he nodded once. No choice. Together, they prepared. Ray checked his gun battery. Have power left. Zara pulled a long blade from her belt, black and sharp like a shadow. Outside, the enemy hunters were almost at the door. Ray's heart pounded hard now. But his mind stayed clear. This was what he trained for. Zara gave him a quick look, her golden eyes serious. She tapped her chest once, warrior's sign. Ray gave her a small nod back, then crash. The first hunter kicked the shelter's door open. Ray didn't wait. He fired. Blue light flashed from his gun, hitting the first enemy square in the chest. The hunter flew back into the mud outside. Zara was already moving. Fast. Deadly, she leaped at the second enemy, her black blade slashing through armor like paper. Her claws grabbed the alien's mask, ripping it off with a sharp crack. Ray spun to the side, dodging a blast from the third hunter's weapon. The air burned hot. Ray ducked behind a broken pillar, then leaned out and fired again. His shot hit the third hunter's leg. The hunter roared in pain. Zara finished the second enemy, spinning in midair and landing beside Ray. For a moment, both of them stood back to back, watching for the next attack. Ray breathed hard. Sweat dripped down his face. Zara's silver hair whipped around her face like lightning. Her blade dripped with dark green blood. The third hunter didn't run. Instead, he raised his gun and pointed it directly at Zara. Ray saw it. Time slowed. Down, Zara, he shouted. But she already knew. In a flash, she grabbed Ray's arm and shoved him aside. The enemy fired. The blue shot hit the wall where Ray had just stood. Ray didn't waste the chance. He dropped low, aimed carefully, and fired one last time. The final hunter dropped. Silence filled the shelter again. Ray stood up slowly, checking the room. No more enemies. No more footsteps. Zara leaned against the wall, breathing hard but alive. Ray walked over to her. You okay? Zara gave him a tired smirk. Okay. Ray looked around at the three bodies. That was close. Zara didn't answer right away. Then she said softly, "You fight strong." Ray gave a small laugh. Guess I learned from the best. For a long moment, they both just stood there, side by side, looking at the quiet jungle beyond the shelter's entrance. Ray knew something had changed again. This wasn't about two strangers surviving anymore. They were partners now, and whatever was coming next, they would face it together. After the fight, the jungle felt too quiet. Ray sat by the ruined shelter's wall, pulse gun resting in his lap. The smell of burnt metal and alien blood still hung in the air. But the real danger had passed for. Now Zara stood near the doorway. Her tall figure blocked the fading stormlight. Blue skin marked with small cuts, silver white hair messy from the battle. She wasn't like any soldier Ray had ever met, not human, not predictable. But somehow he trusted her now, not just because they fought together, because she had saved him. And he had saved her. Ray touched his arm where Zara had pushed him earlier, pulling him out of danger. His skin still tingled where her claws had touched. Zara turned slowly, golden eyes shining faint in the dim light. Ray broke the silence first. Thank you for earlier. Zara tilted her head slightly. Save, human. Ray gave a small smile. Yeah, save me. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Ray knew they didn't share a full language, but that didn't matter anymore. Some things didn't need words. Zara walked over, slow and calm, crouching beside him. Her hand reached toward his arm again, checking his injuries from the fight. Her touch was careful, almost gentle. Ray watched her, remembering how, just a short time ago, she wouldn't stop poking him, mocking him, testing him. Now, it felt different. Her claws traced over the old burn he had from the acid rain. Zara pulled out the purple medicine again, dabbing a few drops onto his skin. Ray whispered, "You're not so bad for a tall, poking alien." Zara didn't understand all the words, but she caught the tone. Her lips curved in a slow smirk again. Human. Funny, she said. Ray laughed softly. Yeah, I get that a lot. The wind outside changed direction. Ray stood up slowly, walking toward the doorway. The jungle had quieted, steam rising off the trees. The storm had finally passed, but somewhere out there, more enemies could be hunting them. Ray looked at Zara. We need to move soon. Zara nodded once. Yes. She stepped outside first, scanning the jungle with her sharp golden eyes. Ray followed, pulse gun ready again. They walked together now, no longer human and alien strangers, but a team. Ray spoke as they moved. Back home, I'm part of a unit. Squad. He made a circle shape with his hands. Team. Zara looked at his hands, understanding the sign. Team, she repeated. Ray smiled. That's right, and now we're a team too. Zara didn't answer right away, but she gave a slow, serious nod. They moved carefully through the jungle, avoiding open spaces. Each step was quiet, controlled. At one point, Ray stopped, holding up his hand. He'd seen something flashing lights far in the distance, a signal. Maybe human rescue. Maybe another enemy. Zara crouched beside him, watching too. Ray whispered, Could be my people. Zara's face changed slightly. Her golden eyes narrowed in thought. Ray looked at her, realizing something he hadn't thought about before. If he found his team, would Zara still stay with him? Or would she go back to her own people? Ray felt a strange tight feeling in his chest. Before he could say anything else, Zara spoke first. "Ray," she said. Her voice softer now. He turned toward her. "Yeah?" She hesitated. Then she tapped her own chest once. "Zara, trust, you." Ray blinked. That wasn't a simple word. Trust meant something real. Something heavy. He swallowed once. Then he smiled slowly. "I trust you too." The flashing lights in the distance kept pulsing. But Ray didn't move yet. For now, standing here beside Zara felt more important than running toward rescue. They both stood still, surrounded by the quiet jungle, golden eyes and human eyes watching. The horizon together, whatever came next. One thing was clear now, their bond was real, and it didn't need words. It was trust. Beyond words, asterisk. The jungle sky turned gold and purple as the sun set. Ray and Zara stood near the edge of a wide river, its surface shining like glass. Behind them, the ruined shelter and the signs of battle were already far away. Ahead, Ray saw it now flashing. Lights in the sky, a human rescue ship. His signal had worked. Ray stared for a long moment. Part of him felt relief. Part of him felt unsure. Beside him, Zara was silent. Her golden eyes followed the sky too. But Ray could tell she wasn't just watching the ship. She was thinking. Maybe she felt the same question inside. What now? Ray broke the silence first. His voice was low. "My people are here." Zara gave a small nod. Her face was calm, but her eyes were different now. Not cold. Not arrogant. Soft. "Good," Zara said quietly. Ray looked at her. "And your people?" Zara didn't answer right away. Then she pointed toward the opposite side of the river, toward the jungle. Zara's clan. "Near," she said simply. Ray understood. They both had a way home now, but home didn't feel like a simple word anymore. Ray's mind flashed back, the first moment he met her, the poking, the bite, fighting together, saving each other. It didn't feel like some random jungle encounter anymore. It felt like fate. Ray stepped closer to Zara. "I'll go back to my team," he said slowly. "You'll go back to yours." Zara didn't speak. She only looked at him. Her hand brushed lightly against the spot on her arm where Ray had bitten her days ago. Then, slowly, she stepped forward until they were only inches apart. Ray felt his heart beat harder. Without a word, Zara leaned in. Her golden eyes locked on his. Her claws touched his shoulder gently. And then she bit him, not hard, not painful, just a light, careful bite on his shoulder right where she had poked him that first day. Ray froze. His mind raced, but then he understood. Bite wasn't an attack. It was a sign, a mark, a bond. Zara stepped back slowly. Her golden eyes softened, her voice low as she spoke in her language first, then in clear English, "Forever bond." Ray swallowed hard. His chest felt tight, but not in a bad way. His voice came out rough. Is that your people's way?" Zara nodded once. "Strong bite, strong trust, no break." Ray laughed quietly, shaking his head. "Aliens, you guys really have strange ways of showing feelings." Zara's lips curved in that quiet smirk again. But before they could say anything more, the rescue ship's lights flashed brighter now. A loud voice echoed from the sky. "Survivor located. Preparing to land." Ray's radio crackled to life. "Ray, do you copy? This is command. We've got you on radar." Ray looked at Zara one last time. She looked at him. No fear. No sadness. Only trust. Only bond. Ray raised his radio slowly. "This is Ray," he said clearly. "I'm alive. But there's someone else here you'll want to meet." As the ship landed, dust blowing around them, Ray stood beside Zara, not as a lost soldier, but as part of something bigger. Something no human rule book had written before. And as the ramp lowered, human soldiers stepped out in heavy armor. One of them raised a hand. "Ray, you made it." Ray didn't step forward yet. He stayed where he was, Zara at his side. "This is Zara," he said loudly, voice steady. "She's with me." The soldiers stared in shock. Whispers spread. Ray didn't care. He touched the spot on his shoulder where Zara's bite mark still burned warm, a mark that meant forever. And as the sun fully set behind the jungle, painting the sky in fire and shadow, Ray knew he wasn't just going home. He was bringing a piece of this wild, strange world with him. Forever bonded, human, and alien. No longer strangers. Now unbreakable. Asterisk